So I can understand why people tend to gravitate towards those within their own groups, and that's because people who are similar to each other tend to just be more attracted to each other, and it's easier to get along with somebody that has had similar experiences because you come from the same background. And I totally understand why like a lot of people tend to marry within their own race or their own culture, and it's because of those reasons. You grew up in the same culture, you have had similar experiences, and it's just really easy to relate to each other and to mesh. But I also think that it doesn't make sense to try to or to like prevent yourself from potentially having a fulfilling relationship because somebody is from a different background than you. Like, I feel like you can be compatible with somebody from a completely different culture that you never would have guessed if you hadn't given yourself the chance. And I'm not saying that people have to like date interracially or marry outside their race, or that that's going to magically solve racism, because obviously it's not. But it definitely helps bring people together who otherwise probably wouldn't have had very much exposure with each other and wouldn't have gotten to know or understand each other better. So I follow the Blindian project, which I've talked about in one of my most popular videos, because of an experience that I had, and I just didn't realize there was such a huge community of people who had had similar experiences. So sometimes I'll see like the messages that they post about that they get from people who are going through similar struggles. And I saw one message today that I thought was really interesting, and I just wanted to read it and just comment on it. So somebody wrote to them and said, recently I told my parents about my boyfriend of 6 years, and my dad responded with, "You're doing something that is too ahead of our time. People don't have tolerance for this kind of a union. Black and brown people are not compatible. You're asking for something that is absolutely impossible, so drop it." It was heartbreaking but inevitable. I'm mad at myself for waiting for so long, but I was so scared I'd be disowned. But after following your page since its inception, it's given me a lot of hope, and I just purchased your book, and I'm going to leave it at my parents' doorstep with a note, because they really haven't seen black and brown love or the fact that it could work. So your book will be the first glimpse of that, so thank you, I appreciate you. And I just thought that that was sad, because I think that if you manage to find somebody who's a good person and who treats you well, and you're compatible with that person, then it shouldn't matter what their skin color is or what race they are or what their cultural background is. The important things are the values that you share with somebody. And it's possible to meet somebody from a different culture that you actually have shared values with. And it seems to me that a lot of times, a lot of like Desi parents, they would prefer to see their children like unhappy in like an arranged marriage with somebody that was chosen for them that they approve of, than to see them happy in a relationship with somebody from a different cultural background that they don't approve of. And it's like they don't even give like the person's partner like the opportunity to get to know them. They don't even want to get to know the person. And I think you should judge people for who they are and like give them the opportunity to show you who they are before you form your opinions of them and make your decisions about like what you think of them as a person. And I just think that that's like a horrible position to be in as like a child, where your parents are basically telling you like, if you do this, like you're dead to us, and we won't love you anymore. I just think that's so manipulative and abusive, and a parent should want their child to be happy and healthy and in a relationship that's happy and healthy and fulfilling, and it really shouldn't matter what that person's background is, as long as they're a good person. Like, what kind of family would disown you like that? I feel like that's, I don't know, that's a really sad and horrible thing to have to deal with, and I can't believe that people still think this way. It's like, I don't know, I guess it's fear. People are really afraid of things that they don't understand. And instead of like going out into the world and learning about different people and learning about different cultures, they would rather just stay within their own kind of echo chamber and not really venture outside of that, because I guess it's like scary to them. I just think that I'm lucky to have grown up with parents who didn't teach me to think certain things about people based on their race, and who taught me to view people as individuals. And my parents really wouldn't care who I was with as long as the person was a good person who treated me well. They wouldn't care what the race of the person was. Like, that's not something that matters ultimately. I would say that people that are in that position, you have to decide whether or not you're willing to give up what could have been like a really fulfilling and beautiful relationship for your family and to make other people happy, because at the end of the day, you're the one that's going to be coming home to your partner or your spouse, not your mom, not your dad, not your auntie. It's going to be you. So you have to make decisions that you can live with. And I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want a family that would literally disown me for that kind of a decision. And it would make me question whether they actually loved me at all. And I would just be, I don't know, I would feel that I would be better off without people constantly trying to pressure me into doing things that I don't want to do, or things that I know are going to make me unhappy. And a lot of people might think that that's a selfish way to think or to live. And I think especially people that come from like a different culture where, you know, your own decisions or your own happiness is not necessarily the most important thing, but like, you know, fitting into the group is more important than your own happiness. They might see that as selfish, but I see that as like self-care and loving yourself and choosing yourself. And I think the people that truly love you wouldn't abandon you like that. And they can be upset about it and be mad at you, but ultimately if they love you and they want you in their lives, then they're gonna have to learn to accept it. And don't be afraid to make the right decision for you because you're afraid of what could potentially happen in the future. I think it's better to make the decision that is in your heart than to go the rest of your life regretting the decisions that you've made and wondering what would have happened if you had chosen yourself and you had chosen to live for yourself and your own happiness. But that's just my opinion. At the end of the day, you're going to do whatever it is that you feel is best for you. And I don't know. That's just my take on it.